Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the AAS YouTube channel. And today we're going to talk with a scientific editor for the journals. And with that, I am very happy to say hello to Claudio Ricci. Hello, Claudio.
Hey, Frank. How's it going?
I'm doing very well. It is June 21st of 2024 as we record this, and Phoenix is in its very hot mode. Let's put it that way. We're definitely up into the 115s Fahrenheit. So what are we at? 41, 42 C, somewhere in there, 43. It's toasty. And how about you? Where are you at?
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, I'm in Santiago de Chile.
Oh, cool.
So on the other side of the Americas.
Mhm.
And here, on the other hand, as you can imagine, the weather is very different. So actually, Santiago is usually very dry, but it's been super rainy this season. So actually, today is the rainiest day, I think, of the winter so far.
I have an idea. You wanna do a house swap? You can come out. You can take my house in Phoenix for a week, and I'll take yours for a week, and
let's do that.
We'll both be happy.
I'll check the flights right away.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Let's see. And Claudio, what do you like to do for research?
Yeah, so I work on supermassive black holes, and in particular, I work on their accreting phase. So I'm very interested in nearby objects and particularly to study the innermost regions. So I really care about everything that is within like 10 parsec from the supermassive black hole. One thing that I've been working on quite a lot over the past decade is actually the obscuration properties of these supermassive black holes.
Okay.
So all the material that is around that eventually fuels the black hole. And I'm also very interested in the activity of these black holes. So basically like how the accretion process happens. And most of my work has been focused on the X-ray emission. This is something I'm still working on quite a bit. So particularly what gives rise to these X-rays in these supermassive black holes.
They're using like NuSTAR and other high energy missions?
A bit of everything. Yeah, I did like my fair share of work with NuSTAR, which is great. I've been using BAT, XMM, Chandra, Suzaku when it was still running. With the integral, quite a bit of everything.
Get the whole range.
And yeah. So I mean, like basically studying all this X-ray emission, you can understand what is going on within a few gravitational radii from the black hole. And the one thing that I recently started to get very interested in is like how these accreting sources actually look in the millimeter range. Because there is actually like, it's possible that some of the electrons that are producing the X-ray radiation, they also produce some of the millimeter continuum that we observe.
Okay.
And for this, actually, it's been great to use ALMA here in Chile.
Can say, yes.
So actually a great occasion to do high energy astrophysics with ALMA, which has been fun.
Very cool.
Another thing I'm very interested in is variability. So AGN variability and particularly extremely rapid accretion episodes. So this is something that's I found quite fun over the past few years.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So those were fun. Of any of those projects, which ones did you find surprising or gave a surprising result or something like that?
So I guess like one of the weirdest things I've seen so far in my work was what we found back in 2020. This was actually ended up as an article in APJL. And this is a supermassive black hole that was accreting before, and that was showing like some X-ray emission, you know, the classical signature of black hole accretion. Okay. And then all of a sudden, like the X-rays disappeared and things started to go completely nuts, with the flux going up like 4 orders of magnitude within like hundreds of days. Okay. And yeah, so this is an object that was quite fun. And I'm hoping we will catch some more of these objects now that LSST is starting operations next year.
Was that a serendipitous find or?
Yeah, this was serendipitous, basically. Well, I mean, it was from the Assassin survey. So basically they detected a change in flux. And then we started to follow it up. We had like some work in the optical, which was led by some colleagues. I was taking care of the X-ray things, and they look really so strange. So actually, this object, the first time I saw it, I thought it was like a tidal disruption event or X-ray binary. didn't really look like an AGN. It was so strange, but it was fun.
Surprising. Very cool. Very cool. I'm always kind of interested how people get into the fields that they get into, right? Because there's so many good things one could do. So how did you get into this field?
I think we need to go back a little bit. I think like I was always to some extent interested about supermassive black holes or black holes in general, even as a kid. But to the level of kids, like okay, this sounds great.
Sure.
But I want to spend my working life dedicating to understand what's going on. This is something that I think happened a little bit later. So I was in Geneva doing my master. And during the first year of my master, it was one of these exchange programs. I was studying at the University of Rome, and I went to Geneva for like 9 months, just for 1 year.
Nice.
And I really liked the high energy astrophysics course. And so I spoke with the professor there, and I said, okay, I might be interested to actually do my master research, which is usually another 9 months. On something like related to black holes.
Okay.
So he said, great. I looked for fundings. I managed to get a scholarship, a really meager Italian scholarship to go to Geneva. And then I moved back to Geneva, and then things went pretty well. They offered me a PhD, and then I stayed for a PhD, and then things just started rolling. So I did my PhD actually on creating supermassive black holes with the integral satellite.
Fortuitous class. The fortuitous.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was fun. And integral was one of the main things in the high energy lab at the University of Geneva back then. So they had the data center. So I also got to do some, scientist on shift, scientist on duty sort of activities, which was quite enjoyable as well.
Very nice. Very nice. Very cool. And of all that activity that was happening, or maybe it was later, but when did you do your first AAS Journal article, AJ?
So this was a few years later, and was during my first postdoc, which I did at Kyoto University in Japan.
Wow.
So actually, this is on a particular object that caught my attention. I was reading some article, and I found a source, IRAS 00521, something like this, that seemed to show a very broad iron K alpha line, which can be a signature of like strong relativistic reflection. So I was in Japan, and I said, okay, they had Suzaku, which was working great. I said, okay, let's ask for some Suzaku time. Got some Suzaku time, and this was my first fellowship. So I also had some money to actually pay for publication charges. Okay. So, and I always wanted to publish on APJ. I said, let's do it.
Very
yeah,
cool.
And that's basically the beginning of my story with the AAS Journals.
Very cool. And we'll put a link to that article in the description below the video. So if you want to check out Claudio's first APJ article, do that. Great. And then since your first one there, then what's sort of been your history a little bit with since your first one?
Yeah, I think after that I started to publish most of my articles on AAS Journals. I think I have like a dozen now as first author, and probably a bit over 100 as co-author. And it's been great. I mean, I've always liked it a lot. The process is very fast, and it works very well. And I really like the output, which for me is something important. I mean, I need to like what I'm doing. So if I have like a graphically appeasing, let's say, manuscript, I don't know. I feel like writing an article more.
Yes, absolutely. The artwork and the images are important. Very important. Cool. So at some point in that trajectory, your thoughts must have turned to being a scientific editor. And so what sort of made you decide to go that route?
I think it was very random, because it's not something I had thought before about. But then I was on Twitter, as sometimes you do, like when you're killing time between one task and the other. And I saw somebody reposting, retweeting a tweet from Chris Lintott in which he was advertising this. So I clicked and I checked. I said, okay, let's have a look.
Yeah.
And I found this like to be a very intriguing possibility. It seemed like a good occasion to do, I don't know, like to get out of the comfort zone and I don't know, to keep growing scientifically and professionally. Plus, we all like reading papers. Why not make you know, a part-time job out of it? So no, that's how I decided, and I just applied.
And it worked out well. When did you start?
So I started actually. I think I'm one of the two newbies in the journal. I just started 6 months ago.
Okay.
So I'm still very fresh.
Yeah.
And
your feet are wet.
Much less Twitter time, so that's fine.
Oh,
And yeah, and it's been a blast. I've been enjoying it a lot.
very cool.
And there is a lot to learn. I've been reading a lot of articles that I wouldn't necessarily read, like for example, a lot of blazars, a lot of like statistics from our statistics editors, which it's useful.
Okay. Yeah, so I have two comments on that. So one, I believe that you are the first scientific editor in South America. Yes?
I think the first one from a South American university, because Giovanni Carraro was actually a TISO here. Yes.
True. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm the only one. It's a bit lonely down here.
Oh, well, that sounds like an advertisement for more. So keep your eyes open, people. Keep your ears open. I guess watch your Twitter feed, because we are growing. We are definitely growing. And so there will be a need for new essays in the future. So you can watch these videos and learn a little something. Oh, wow. And then what was the second point? It'll come to me in a moment. So on a scientific editor, that can be mysterious, I guess, maybe to some. So what does a scientific editor do?
I see the scientific editor as the person who's basically ensuring that the peer review process happens smoothly in a very constructive way, in a polite way also, but managing basically the conversation between the author and the referee. And finally, also, I feel like responsible for the articles to actually be up to the standards of the journal. So this is how I see basically what I do as scientific editor. In terms of like my daily routine as I see, I usually get a request from you. If it's not from you, it's from Chris Consolis. Yeah, I think like I get about 70% of my articles from the energy corridor which you're leading. So once I get these requests, I think so far I've accepted 100% of them. Still trying to understand at what point I have sort of a conflict, but this is not something that does arise yet as an issue. Once I accept the request, I get the article, the manuscript. At that point, I read it. I understand what the work is about.
Right.
So I go carefully through the abstract, summary, and conclusion. If it's a field that it's not really mine, then I want to read the introduction carefully, because it kind of gives me a good background. Actually, it's very useful because one learns so much from by reading introductions. So it's actually a pleasure. And then I look for a referee. Often enough, if it's my field, I kind of already see more or less who might be a good choice. Also, it's clear to me what are the patterns of the different collaborations, so I know how to avoid possible conflicts. If it's not my field, it's a bit more complicated, so I need to dig a little bit. Usually it takes more time. And then I contact the referee. Sometimes the referee says right away yes, And
Yay.
these are the best moments.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because it means that I picked a good referee, like not necessarily a good referee, but a referee that is working, is interested in the article, right?
Yep, in the game. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and but sometimes I need.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, roughly how many new manuscripts a week do you handle?
Somewhere between 2 and 5 or 2 and 6.
Sounds episodic.
This range. Yeah, it's depends. There are days that I get like 5 the same day, and then the rest of the week nothing.
Okay.
And then there are like slow weeks. Depends.
Okay. I just wanted to get some sense of the volume.
Yeah, the volume has been pretty good, and it's mostly supermassive black hole papers. I've done a few maybe like gravitational waves and things that are a bit more exotic for me, but they are mostly in my, let's say, in my territory.
Yeah, or just broadening your territory.
Yeah, that's which is also great.
Which I think is a good thing, right? So. Good.
Yeah, no, I certainly enjoy it. It does take more time, but it's
true.
It's interesting.
True. Yeah, I mean, finding the referee is probably where most of the time goes, is right up front, unless it's a problem case. So
yeah,
and those can take a little longer.
Yeah, but yeah, usually like when the referee accepts, then things kind of like move with some exception quite smoothly.
Yeah, in general, yeah. Good. Well, I congratulate you on your 100% acceptance rate. I think that's awesome.
Well, I've been at this only for 6 months, so let's see.
Yeah, there will come a time. There just will.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. But you mentioned some of the things, that when a new manuscript comes in, you give it a read. What helps you along when you do it? So let me turn that into a request for authors to pay attention to. So what do you think makes for a good, solid initial submission?
I think like the combo title and abstract, and particularly the abstract, are very important.
Okay.
They are sort of the business card of the article.
Okay.
So already if I can understand very clearly the abstract and like which puts everything in a good framework, then it's much easier for me to move along with the article. I would say that a good manuscript needs to have a very well-defined focus. So it needs to be clear like where the authors want to go and what data they are using and why they're doing it. I really like to have clear figures and very clear captions. And this is something that I try to also to enforce a little bit with my group whenever like I'm co-author of papers, because I think like a figure left there with the one line caption with 25 different symbols and 35 different type of lines, that's not going to help anybody. So yeah,
not a good figure.
So actually I exaggerate maybe sometimes. No, exactly. I exaggerate maybe sometimes on the other side.
Of it,
I mean, my captions they tend to be huge.
Okay. That's fine. I'd rather have more description than less, I think, in a figure caption. So yeah,
but I do enjoy that from Manuscript. And as I mentioned, a good introduction. I think it's very important.
Yep, and certainly in that introduction, I think it behooves authors to be rather explicit about what their significant new results are. Right? What is it that's original, new, novel, cool?
Yeah.
Don't leave it to the reader to guess.
No, exactly. Understanding the state of the art is fundamental, particularly if you're coming from another field.
Yeah, you're coming into a new one. Yes. What is it? Okay. So that good initial manuscript submission comes in, you locate a referee, and then there's usually a back and forth process leading to a decision. And so I wonder if you have any tips for authors. Let's do the author side first. So do you have any tips for authors about handling the peer review process?
I would say it's important always to be polite and to remember that we are all playing in the same team. I mean, the referee wants to help. And if the referee doesn't want to help, I'm gonna make them want to help. So,
very good, very good. Yeah.
And also to make sure to always like reply to all the points of the referee. I mean, often enough, like sections of a referee report disappear, and then sometimes the referee says, "Okay, but why did you ignore it?" And it's fine to push back, but I think it needs to be argued in a constructive way, like saying, okay, maybe we have a different opinion, or maybe the referee is not aware of these developments in the literature. There is plenty of things that that could lead an author to say, okay, this is, maybe we don't want to do this.
But you should say that.
Yeah, but this should be said.
Don't not answer it. Yeah, because then a second report is coming. So
no, exactly, and also this stretches the times, right? Things eventually take longer.
I mean, if you're looking for an efficient process, authors generally want to address all the points raised, even if you push back on some. It's perfectly fine, but the idea is to reach closure on that first report. That's where you want to aim. So yeah, very good. Let's do it from the other side. Let's do it from referees. So do you have any tips for referees writing reports, handling author replies, etc.? So let's do it from the referee side.
From the referee side, I think, and this is something that I noticed most referees do, is to always be constructive. Yes. And avoid emotional, emotional style or, like emotional phrasing of things. Right. Because, I mean, that can spiral down into madness quite quickly.
Appropriate description.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't get to that because I usually remove any of the text. But, makes also my life easier.
And scientific editors can do that, right? So, yeah, they can redact reports if there's things that are objectionable.
Yeah. One thing that I would recommend maybe referees is to reply very quickly or as quickly as possible. I mean, people are busy, obviously, to the request, and no is totally fine. I mean, I'm very happy to take a no and a couple of alternative names within half an hour. Then,
always good. Always good. Yeah.
And also to take it seriously, because sometimes it happens that the referee says yes, and then you need to chase them a bit, and then they return a report which is 3 lines and makes it obvious that they didn't really read the paper, or they read the abstract and that's it.
Oh, no. Yo. Yeah, I just had one of those. So obviously I'm not going to say any detail, but the referee took it like that, like within an hour after I made the request. And okay, great. This is going well. And the 3 weeks go by and the request comes, oh, well, I'm running a little late. Can I have a little extra time? Sure. You can always ask. Sure, of course. Another week, sure. Then another week goes by. And then another week goes by. And at this point, I'm already searching for a second referee, right? Because you're pulling me along. And so finally, after 6 weeks, the report comes in, and it was literally 2 or 3 lines, giving let's just say it was a summary adjudication as opposed to a referee report.
Yeah, and that's wasting everybody's time, right?
I waited 6 weeks for that. No. Yeah. Right report.
And one thing that I would like also to mention, and this applies both to authors and referees, is to use the confidential box for the editor, because that's super useful. Like often enough, it allows me to read between the lines, for example, and to understand a bit more the situation and the context. So that's really useful.
Yes, good. That's a really good one. Cool. And if people are interested, and maybe we'll take this show internationally soon enough, I don't know, but we do a peer review training workshop. It's about 4 hours long or so. And you do 2 labs, you read referee reports, you write a referee report, and then you graduate with a certificate and a personalized certificate, I might add, personalized. And so, yeah, we've been doing this for the last couple of AAS meetings, and there's some interest in exporting it internationally. So something to look forward to, how to be a better referee if you want to go there. So.
Yeah, that would be nice to do it. I'm sure that here, for example, in South America, there is a lot of people would be interested.
So look for it coming to you soon. And let's see, is there anything else you would like to share about the scientific editor process as it goes?
Yeah, maybe just to mention that, hidden behind the system and everything, there is a lot of great people that make things work very smoothly, and that is our managing staff, which is really exceptional, always very quick and very to the point. To solve any sort of issues. And also our data editors, I think actually a recommendation for authors to take seriously the data editor report, because they also speed up basically the publication time.
Right, particularly when they ask for data behind a figure, or your animation comes in and it's not in the greatest of formats. So put it in a different format. So yeah, it's a value add to the papers, is having those scientific editors. And yeah, I really appreciate you shouting out to the managing staff. Yeah, they do a fantastic job.
No, it's fantastic. It's
I couldn't do my job.
Yeah, and I was genuinely impressed from day one that I started this job.
Very cool. Well, we're at the 6-month mark, and I wish you another very happy couple of years in your trajectory as a scientific editor. So very cool.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah. Claudio, thank you so much. And that will do, everyone. And I hope this gives you a little bit more insight into the peer review process as practiced at the AAS Journals by meeting your scientific editor. So if you see Claudio sometime, say hi.
Bye.
Peace out. And